It began not with a scream, but with a silence so profound it was itself a sound. One Tuesday, at precisely 11:07 a.m., the world lost its echo. Dr. Aris Thorne, a linguist who studied the acoustic archaeology of ancient spaces, was the first in his city to notice. He was in the Grand Cathedral, recording the decay of a struck tuning fork, when he realized the lingering hum of the note was simply gone. The sound hit the cold stone walls and died instantly, as if the very concept of reverberation had been surgically excised from reality. It was the silence of a vacuum, the silence of a tomb, and it was everywhere. The initial mystery was a cold, scientific one. Aris, a man who found comfort in empirical data, rushed to his university lab. He clapped his hands in the anechoic chamber, a room already designed to swallow sound, and heard the familiar, muffled thud. But outside, in the echoing hallway, the result was the same. A flat, dead clap. His heart began to hammer a frantic rhythm against his ribs, a rhythm that felt terrifyingly private, with no echo to give it away to the world. News reports, delivered by flustered anchors, whose voices fell lifelessly from the television speakers, confirmed it was a global phenomenon. Physics had been subtly, silently rewritten. This was the first hook, the unnerving violation of a natural law everyone had taken for granted. The second hook came hours later, a chilling addendum to the new rules of this silent world. Aris, desperate for a familiar comfort, called his sister. Her voice was flat, devoid of the warm resonance that usually traveled down the line. But as they spoke of their fear, he realized something else. Their conversation was a series of statements, but it lacked the subtle, conversational music he'd known his whole life. There were no pauses filled with understanding, no shared breaths between sentences, no unspoken emotional subtext carried on the tone of a sigh. He told a joke he knew would usually make her snort with laughter. She said, "That's funny," in a monotone that suggested it was anything but. Communication had become a barren exchange of data. The soul of sound had vanished, and with it, the soul of human connection. The third and most personal hook arrived with the setting sun. Exhausted and desolate, Aris retreated to his apartment. He looked at his reflection in the dark window, a man becoming a ghost in a world losing its substance, and he made a choice. He poured all his loneliness, all his fear, all his love for the world that was, into a single word. He spoke his sister's name, Clara, not as data, but as a plea. He didn't just say it, he felt it. And for a fraction of a second, a hair's breadth in time, the word hung in the air. It didn't echo, but it lingered, imbued with an emotional weight that transcended acoustics. The climax of his terror became the genesis of his hope. What if the change wasn't in the laws of physics, but in them? What if the global event was not an alteration of the world, but an evolution of humanity? A shedding of a superficial layer of communication? The silence wasn't a prison, it was a filter. It had stripped away the noise, the empty pleasantries, the deceptive tones, the meaningless echoes, forcing a new, more authentic form of connection. To be heard, you now had to mean it. Every word had to be imbued with pure, undiluted intent. The final twist redefined everything. This wasn't an apocalypse. It was an awakening. The silence was a gift, a brutal and terrifying one, forcing humanity to speak truth with every syllable or be met with absolute, unforgiving silence. The echo hadn't disappeared. It had moved inward, resonating now in the soul of the speaker and the heart of the listener, a private, profound vibration of truth. Aris picked up his phone again, his hand steady now. He thought of his sister, not as a name in his contacts, but as the little girl he'd taught to ride a bike, the woman he'd comforted after a heartbreak. He focused every ounce of that memory, that love, into a single, silent intention. And then he sent a text message, just 2 words. Downstairs, his phone chimed. Clara saw the message on her screen, it read. I'm here. And for the first time that day, she didn't just read the words, she felt them. A wave of unwavering support and brotherly love that hit her with the force of a physical embrace. She began to cry, the tears silent, but the feeling behind them louder than any sound ever made. The most terrifying silence is the one that forces you to finally listen to the truth of your own voice. If this journey into the profound power of silence left you breathless, ensure you never miss a story that makes you question reality itself. Subscribe to the channel and tap the bell icon to be notified every time we explore the unexpected. Your next moment of awe is just one notification away.